welcome to Hearthcenter. No, I didn't forget to remove the delay. We are just starting right on the spot with our show for tonight. I am Lotus Knight. I am one of your hosts, and I am joined by what I believe to be the best panel THL has to offer. On our top left corner, the only one sharing his face with us tonight, we have the one and only Super Chicken. Chicken, how are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Um, And to my left side, where I might be dancing and looking depending on the second you look at the video, we have the one and only Geranium Battle. Geranium, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Another week, another great week of THL.
Nice. This was a great week. We have to our bottom left, riding his camel there, the one and only Diamond.
Gotta always rock the camel picture.
And our final host tonight on the bottom left corner, we have Neji Boston. Neji, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Thank you all for being here. We might have a sus caster with us, but we're not going to say anything about it. You'll just have to figure it out who it is until I say it. There's just a secret guest. I'll put a note that there's a secret cast, so if anyone is not understanding what is going on, we do have a secret person. But um, as we begin, we have Player of the Week to cover. And I know you're all excited for Player of the Week. So to tell us our first Player of the Week, the hero Player of the Week, I want to call on Geranium Battle. Who's our hero Player of the Week, Geranium?
Mm, I have things pulled up. I have the document open. I have everything ready. The hero player of the week is definitely loading. It is Seth for Christ. After a delay, Seth continued to remain patient despite some continuing issues with scheduling on his opponent's part. He went above and beyond to accommodate his opponent and then took a decisive 3-0. He continued on to win all his matches for the second week in a row, placing himself as the only undefeated player on the crossover chart.
Congratulations, Seth, on making Player of the Week. And Chicken, do you want to tell us who is our Legacy Player of the Week?
Yeah, our legacy player of the week is Ari. So Ari has become an Ari winner in one of the biggest upsets that has ever been seen in THL. After 14 losses in a row, the streak is finally broken over none other than Skirt Reynolds. This started off a gigantic week for Not Justin, where every player named Justin would go on to lose. What's a mob to a king? What's a king to a god? And what's a Justin to a not Justin? Thanks to Geranium Battle for submitting that one.
Nice. Now, maybe our mysterious guests want to tell us who is our Pro EU Player of the Week. Assuming our mysterious guest has the sheet or the Google Doc open.
I definitely have the sheet open. Our EU Pro Player of the Week is going to be Branka279. A tough opponent, a lack of competitive experience, and submitting some unfamiliar decks couldn't stop Branka from squeezing out a 3-2 win in her first THL match. She practiced the decks and overcame nervousness to cap out an excellent first week for her team, Donkey Hot.
Nice. Um. Okay. We haven't yet revealed our mysterious guest, and we'll just keep without talking about it for a while. But what about our Pro Player of the Week? So I will reveal our Pro Player of the Week. Our Pro Player of the Week is not Rebobson. We don't know who it is, but this is a friendly joke to Rebob. We don't know who it is. The Player of the Week committee is just going to sabotage Rebobson as they always do. So we just put it here in advance. All love to Rebob though. Um, who is? I will note Rebob is crushing it on March Madness. Yes, we all know that. But why don't we hop into our first series, Hero Series? Everyone ready?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
All right. So we're going to jump into Hero, and here's Hero. We're going to start by looking into our first match. So I want to ask Diamond here. Tell us about the Teenage Mighty Ninja Squirtles versus F2L Obsidian.
For sure. So yeah, this was the second weekend going into it. Like one of the more hyped up teams, I think, as well with F2 Obsidian. So we had Nice Juice Owl and Turtle battling it out on stream, and Turtle won that in 5 games. Wild Nine just getting I think a second sweep again over Alien Santa, and then Mighty falling to Bomb D in 5. Pokemon also sweeping Slayer, and then Righteous Jammy subbing in for Super Buckles, losing 1-3. So overall, like the results like went back and forth, but yeah, 2 sweeps from the 2 undefeated players on the team, and the Mighty falling, which was kind of a surprise. But yeah, it's a
Mhm.
nice week.
Definitely a nice week when you beat a team as strong as F2L Obsidian. Um, I'm going to ask our mysterious guest here. Do you have any thoughts on this match that you want to add?
Uh, all I can say is from the information I know, Turtle and Nice Jewish Owl played completely normal decks. There was nothing at all weird that happened during that match. Nobody
Fair.
entered their collection to add a card to their deck that they forgot to put in at the start of the match. And do not watch the stream to fact check this.
Fair. Yeah, I'm sure that has never happened before. Does anyone have any further thoughts they want to share about the Teenage Mighty Ninja Squirtles facing F2L Obsidian?
This is where it's a real tragedy that you can't nominate Player of the Week committee members for Player of the Week. Bombi over Mighty. Was
Fair.
not expecting that.
That's fair. Um, I'll move us into our second match of the night. Geranium, why don't you tell us about Awake Past Midnight facing No Pros here?
Yeah. Yeah, you feature my team once we lose a week, eh?
Yes.
Uh, this is Awake Past Midnight, the APM team with Bone Master on it versus No Pros here. No Pros here taking it 13-11. A rather close win with Agent Pee Wee 3-1ing German Shep your Mumked, sweeping Jay Rich. That's Jay Rich's second sweep loss in a row. I take a 3-1 win over Skittles on stream. Bone Masher took a 3-0 sweep over Bassoon Buffoon stream. And then Clarity won a close Game 5 match versus Laughing Frog to decide the entire series. Um, I mean, just I think that No Pros here put up a really great fight, and they're going to earn their spots in playoffs if they do keep this up.
Nice. Neji, anything you want to share about this match?
Yeah, close match between two, I'd say, pretty strong teams going into the season. A lot of people thought Awake Past Midnight would be one of, if not the best team going in. So, I mean, it's not that surprising to see them lose to No Pros here because, like I said, they're very strong as well. But, um, yeah, close matches between the 5 seed, but otherwise, pretty big wins from everyone else on the team. 3-1s and 3-0s.
Mm-hmm. True. And that brings us to our final hero match of the night that we're going to be talking about. We have At Least I Don't Have Chicken facing Dead Legend. And usually you would think I would pick Neji to talk about this, but no, I want to see Chicken. Chicken, tell us, how do you feel and what do you have to say about At Least I Don't Have Chicken just crushing that legend because they don't have you?
Yeah, it seems like my old team is stronger than ever now. You know, a few of the players, actually, a lot of the players, lost their matches last week, with the exception of Neji, surprisingly. And Neji has won 2 weeks in a row. Can anyone remember the last time he did that in Hero? I,
Nope.
I mean,
No.
it literally must have been like 8 months ago. But yeah, everyone on At Least I Don't Have Chicken got a win this week, getting the classic 5-0 in matches with yeah, two sweeps as well. Justin and C-Mac getting sweeps in their respective seeds. So yeah, very, very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Neji, I want to ask you, as someone who was there when this was happening, any thoughts, anything you want to share about this match? Was your team very confident?
I think we definitely wanted to bounce back from our 4-1 loss last week, and we did just that. Everyone put in a bit more effort this week, I'd say, and all the matches went our way, so can't really ask for any more. I think we definitely did a better job communicating this week, and hopefully we can carry it into the next week.
Nice. That's awesome. Um, does anyone have any final thoughts about this match before we move into to say what are the standings looking like? All right. So starting at the Teal conference, Geranium, what is Teal looking like?
Teal is shaping up to be just an absolute powerhouse up at the top, and a down and out team at the bottom, and then a bunch of teams all scrabbling at the middle. Barnes is the only team with a 2-0 record, 38 points, and then At Least I Don't Have Chicken, Extraterrestrials, F2L Black, and Always Ping Mage are all at 1-1 after losing the first week and then mostly winning the second week. With Always Ping Mage at the bottom there after a huge first week, they just had a terrible second week. Dad Legend, unfortunately, at the bottom with 14 points.
All right. And taking a look at Purple Conference, Diamond, what is Purple looking like?
Yeah, with Purple Conference, we have. Ooh. So we have the Unknown at the top with 39 points, then Teenage Mutant Ninja Squirrels with 37 points, Awake Past Midnight with 30 points, No Pros here with 25 points, Valish, I Was a Baller with 19 points, and F12 Obsidian with 15 points.
Thank you, Diamond, for telling us a bit about Purple. Still early to call what it is going to look like, but we can already start to see interesting shapes for both conferences. Does anyone have any final hero thoughts before we move on to our next series? All right, I will take that as a no and as a good time to bring us into Legacy, where we're going to start by looking at Legacy Gold Conference. So to tell us about our first gold match, we have Geranium Battle. Geranium, tell us what's going on with the first match in Gold Conference, HSA versus the Legacy 3 seeds.
Um, Man, this was not deserved by either side. Um, if a player has won here, uh, something very wrong has happened. For example, if you zoom in on the Big Ted 3-0ing Canoe on stream, uh, I mean, the casters may have noticed that every single deck was named Monkey from Canoe's side. Um,
Fair?
I happened to sweep Rom Mexico on stream in the one. Ghost took a narrow game 5 loss to Turtle in the 2. Boozosaurus showing why Damon deserves to be in the 3. And then Tickers getting his first win over Trip in a Game 5 match in the 5.
Nice.
I'm a Legacy 3 seed, and my 4 and 5 3 seeds just cannot.
Nice.
Sorry, my 3 and 4.
I want to ask our mysterious guest here. Mysterious guest, do you have any thoughts on this match?
Uh, yes, there were certainly some interesting deck choices and some interesting plays by all of the people involved.
Fair.
And I think the legacy 3 seeds are somehow winning when they are in higher seeds and losing when they are in lower seeds, which uh, seems to be not quite what you'd expect.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Oh, wait a second. Why is this a gold conference match?
Is this
This is
not
a
from
red
gold?
conference. No,
Oh, maybe I messed up. It happens. I'll
okay.
just keep it in.
It's okay.
Um, yeah, it's probably red, but this is fine. I'll just leave it here because I don't know. I mess up all the time. We deal with it. So I will move us into our next match, which is actually a gold match, and I can say it because I was involved in it. We have the Blue
Hold up.
Naga Cult.
Sorry. I just wanted to mention that I'm a Legacy 3 seed beat Hearthstone Academy and is still below them.
Nice.
Very good.
Well, we'll see the standings very soon. Um, I want to bring a match, and this was selected by Chicken. This is not my selection. The Blue Naga Cult facing the Hot Zilf. So I'm going to ask Neji. Neji, any thoughts on the Blue Naga Cult versus Hot Zilf's match?
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty dominant win. 18-9 is not very close. Lotus coming in, winning 3-0 over Coles. Nails took it 3-2 over Donde. Bach for Life won 3-1 against Chronic. Skittles also won 3-2 against Astrofrog. And then Hot Zolf's one win came in the 5 seed from Lefty over Righteous Jammies. But yeah, very strong win from Blue Naga Cult. And yeah, just well done to them. Don't have much else to add here.
Mm-hmm. I think this was honestly our team played. The Hot Zilfs are a really good team. They were a champion a few seasons ago. I don't remember when. And it was not a trivial match. We had some very close games. And I don't know. I think everyone performed, and that's how I saw it. But I want to ask Diamond if he has any thoughts he wants to share about this one.
Uh, in this match, like, I think you have one of the better teams in Legacy List. I think, as well, after first having with them, learning more about Righteous Jammies, they're like, I think an underrated 5. Unfortunately, they fell, but yeah. I mean, sticking like Skittles in the 4, Nails in the 2, like, you're using the PR system to your advantage, and it's paying dividends with 41 points.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, I will say if someone used the PR system to their advantage to design this team, it was Geranium because he designed the team more than I did. But that said, why don't we take a look at what the standings are looking like for gold? Geranium, tell us what is gold standings looking like since you're apparently an honorable member of Gold Conference now.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be happy to talk about my team here in Gold Conference. Uh, Speaking of which, at the top we've got Blue Naga Cult, 41 points. Fish Eternum, not far behind with 36
It's actually
points.
40, but the number is not updated on the website.
That makes a lot of sense considering they have 20 points per week.
Yeah.
F2L White sitting there with 35 points. Pod People next up with 30 points. Hot Zilfs 27. Hoot Me Dude at 24 points. Unfortunately, no win yet. The Stubbs with a tie at 20 points. Better win record, but lower points. And then Colossal Misplays at 19. Actually, Hoot Me Dude may have points from the week. Never mind. Hoot Me Dude and the Stubbs were both at 20 to start.
Nice. Does anyone have any further thoughts about Gold Conference before we hop on to Red Conference? All right, so we hop into Red Conference now. It's not like we talked about it before, but we're going to start with our first match. We have the Season 21 THL Legacy Series team facing the Coolest. And I'm going to ask the generator of this horrible team name, Super Chicken. Tell us what happened here.
I like to think the name was a bit of a team effort. Everyone really came together and made such an annoying name to say and type out. Um,
Fair,
so it was really a team effort to ruin everyone's lives
fair.
that had to pronounce our team name. But yeah, it was a even an improvement on our last week, which was already quite good for us. Everyone except for Gamer Dude getting a win here, and yeah, his match was quite close as well. I believe Falfix and Kitten played around the same time. They went up first, both got wins. Then I played my match, so we had 3-3-1s, and then Shep won his match in a pretty close game five, and then Gamer Dude lost his match in a pretty close game five situation as well. So yeah, overall, I think it it was fairly similar to Blue Naga Cult versus Hot Zilfs in that um, it was like a lot of the matches were fairly close,
Mm-hmm.
and um, but like I think we just maybe had a little bit of an edge in each of the matches, and ended up being a pretty big point disparity because of that.
So I want to ask here, I'm going to ask Geranium, anything you want to share to us about this match?
Uh, um, I mean, I like as for the actual matchups, I think that a lot of these players do not deserve to be 1-1 after the first 2 weeks. Um, but even more so than the matchups, S21 THL Legacy Series team is cheating. How how is this legal? How how can you have Gamer Dude in the three moving down from the two? It cannot stand, and it won't stand after this season because the team will have too much PR.
Fair, fair.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed this. I managed to move Justin down a seed, but then also put Shep in the Shep in the two at 550.
Nice.
I think it is because I mean, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of like faith in Kitten as a player. I do think he's quite under PR'd, and yeah, I mean, I've really been liking having Thalfix on the team. Yeah, he's been a great pickup as well. So I think uh everyone that isn't 550 PR on this team is under PR'd in some way.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Now, I'm going to use this opportunity to bring us to our final Red Conference match of the night, which was, I think, one of the most awaited matches in Legacy for I don't even know how long. And to tell us about it, we have someone who wasn't actually in the match but knows everything THL related. Diamond, tell us about Four Justins, One Sustin versus Not Justin.
Yeah, for sure. This is like ever since these teams have come into the league, everyone's been wondering how things will go. And I don't think if people there was like Tavern Talk still going that people would have predicted this to happen. So Mr. Bluegill 11 beat Infinite 3-1, and then Automated Button also winning in 5 against Wild Rose, and then Nine Eyebrows the only win for the the one Sustin over Pyro 3-1, and then unfortunately Pokemon DQ'd, and then Ari, the player of the week, beat Skirt Reynolds 3-1. So yeah, definitely not what you expect, especially the classes two Warlocks as well from
Oh, yeah.
Justin, a Shaman, but like sometimes this this happens, and it's makes at least these shows more interesting.
For sure. So, I want to ask here, Super Chicken, anything you want to add about for Justin's one Sustin versus non-Justin?
Yeah, this is a pretty surprising result for sure. Considering that Team Justin is the kind of, or they are the runner-up from last season, and not Justin finished like last season. In their conference, I think. So yeah, this is pretty surprising. I know Infinite disconnected from one of the games in his match, but I mean that is only one game, and Mr. Beluga was already up 2-1, I suppose. So yeah, I don't think that takes away too much from the win there. And yeah, like just just pretty surprising wins, like up and down. I mean, I'm not too surprised that Nine Eyebrows took down Pyro. Nine has played in the 2 seed in Hero before, so I think him playing the 3 seed is pretty comfortable for him. But yeah, Skirt losing to someone who was on a 14 match loss streak, and is also like 150 PR below him is pretty insane when Skirt has taken down some opponents much higher than him in PR.
Definitely true. Does anyone have any final thoughts about this match before we look into the Red Conference standings?
Yeah. So I mean, Infinite, Wild Rose, Pokemon 661, and Skirt Reynolds are all named Justin, and then their previous team member Gamer Dude also lost this week. So literally every Justin has lost in THL this week. Um, I mean, it's just not Justin's week in many
Yeah,
ways.
I guess at least for a week they're not gonna bring Sexy back. So Chicken, tell us what is going on in the Red Conference standings.
Yeah, Red Conference standings. Oh, look who's at the top. It's Season 21 THL Legacy Series team. In second, we have another Priest Meta. Tied for third, we have not Justin and four Justins. Although I think there is some sort of issue with the points there because it says not Justin has 15 points per week.
Oh,
So it looks like the standings aren't counting ties or something like that. Or there's 1 point missing from not Justin, and I'm not sure why. But
yeah.
anyway, moving down, Defias at 27. We have the coolest at 25. We have HSA at 23, and finally Legacy 3 seed at 21 points.
Nice. All right. This means we're done with our Red Conference segment, and that brings us to our final Legacy Conference. We're gonna look at Silver Conference. And Neji, you have a lot to tell us with a strong showing by Kachow Clowns.
Yes. All right. Kachel Clowns took it 18-8 over Serenite Pain Gang. There was myself versus your mum kid. I won 3-1. Blood Rose beat Base 3-2. Diamond beat Pescatarian 3-2. Corden won 3-1 over Darkside, and Kotamora won 3-0 over Eternal. The matches this week were interesting. I'd say our prep was better this week. Obviously, the meta has been changing a little bit, but we're getting more comfortable with things as time goes on. And I pretty much, at least for my match, I just brought like my MT lineup, which I was very comfortable playing, so that was fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, yeah, I'm proud of the team for getting a big win here and continuing to stay in first place right now.
Nice. I want to ask our mysterious guest here. Do you have anything to add about Kachow Clowns facing SBG?
I will say SPG seems to be a significantly more competitive team than it was in previous seasons.
True.
Uh, However, Kachow Clowns definitely showing their strengths. When you have two very, very good players in the 1 and 2, you sometimes worry that you're missing out on PR for better lower seed players, but the bottom 3 seeds are holding up just fine.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Um, Now I want to ask Diamond, do you have anything you want to add about this one?
Honestly, I expected us to win this week. I would say as an ego thing, I just think our team's really good. Arguably better than last season. Like I really like the vibes of this Legacy team. It's the reason why I chose to play Legacy over Hero this time because I feel like Happening Hero has been enough, but like I enjoy playing with like Neji Base Gordon and then getting to know Kodamura as well. He's been really fun in the chat and just an active person.
Nice. And I will say a pro about this team is that they have a good name, easy to pronounce.
True. Ka-chow.
Ciao, indeed. Now I want to ask you all, or not you all. I want to ask, our next match in Silver Conference. I have Diamond. Why don't you tell us about Dad Legend versus Explosive Sheep?
For sure. Let's see. So yeah, Dad Legend coming in and kind of smacking the sheep around. So we have Desharmo falling to Tistu, who's 1-3, and the only positive record on the Exclusive Sheep roster. We have King Viking, the rookie, sweeping Epic Mingo. And then Icicles defeating Hickett 3-1. Yellow Dart also beating Bitbeaker 3-0. And then Hastur beating Sharkbait 3-2. So yeah, overall, kind of a tough week for Exclusive Sheep after last week as well. So only have 20 points, but it's like still early in the season. They can bounce back, but may need to like change something up in their prepper planning.
For sure. Geranium, anything you want to add about Dead Legend facing Explosive Sheep?
Well, if you're talking about changing something up, I mean, they have posted in recruitment and subs about getting a perma sub.
Ooh.
So don't exactly know what's going to happen with that. As for the actual matchups here, I mean, uh, King Viking was put into the player of the week suggestion box, and I think for good reason. First win in THL, 3-0 win over Epic Mingo, who did crazy things two seasons ago when they weren't banned. So yeah, I think that legend actually looks pretty great right now.
Nice. And to take a look at Dead Legend into perspective of Silver Conference, Neji, what is Silver Conference looking like?
Yeah, we have Chow Clowns at the top with 40 points, followed by Standard THL Degenerates at 39. And then a bit lower down in third, we have IDK at 29. Right behind them, within 2 points, are Dad Legend, SPG, and Double Doors Army. And then Sunks of Drunken City at 24 and Explosive Sheep at the bottom with 20 points.
Nice. So still a lot to come, but it's interesting to see that no team has completely fallen behind. We've seen gaps much bigger week 1 in many seasons before.
Yeah, it's still pretty close. We have like the top 2 teams right now in silver. Kind of, I mean, obviously it's early. 10 points isn't really that much, but compared to like the other teams, the top 2 are a bit further ahead, and then the rest of the teams aren't too far behind, honestly, all of them. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's anybody's or it's up for anybody at this point is what I mean to say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any final legacy thoughts before we move into March Madness. We're going to go straight into March Madness and then do our commercial and go into the Pro Series to end the show. All right. So March Madness, we're going to start looking at the top bracket. So instead of calling everyone, we have fewer matches to talk about. So I'm just going to choose three of you, or yeah, three of you to talk about one of the bracket, three of you to talk about the other. So I'm going to start with our mysterious guest here. Any particular match from the top bracket you want to talk about?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think looking at the top bracket, I think the most interesting match is that I guess is that quarterfinals of Rebob versus Marty B,
Mm-hmm.
the two stats masters of F2L playing off against each other,
Nice. Yeah.
and Rebob managing to take that victory.
True.
So I guess Marty won't be getting Player of the Week for beating Rebob in March Madness, but maybe someone will get it in finals.
That's true. Um, I want to ask Geranium Battle here. Any matches you want to highlight from the top bracket?
Well, I mean, it's maybe not so much from the top bracket, but we do have a further result that isn't on this sheet. It's from both brackets in a way, because Rebob has also played against a member of the lower bracket here and had 3-0'd German Shep. Uh,
Wow.
supposedly, supposedly, this included German Shep having roped himself out of a win by playing directly into a freezing trap and missing out on some charge warrior lethal. So could have maybe had a different result had some of that not happened. But yeah, losing with charge warrior into losing with quest hunter twice in a row means 3-0 for Rebob.
Nice. And Rebob is a finalist now.
Yeah.
Wow. So Rebob is facing in the finals someone we don't know who yet, but I want to ask here. I'm gonna ask Neji. Neji, any match you want to highlight from the bracket here before we move to the bottom bracket?
Yeah, we can take a look a bit of at our right side here. Um, we have Chronic making it into the top 4, I believe that is,
Mm-hmm.
beating out. I think it's not on here, but I think Treato 2 was also in the top 8. So
Yes.
he must have beat out Treato 2 to get to the top 4. So well done.
Nice. Well done, Chronic. This was not an easy bracket at all. Well, none of them were. Now, keeping us moving here, let's take a look at the bottom bracket. And I want to ask Super Chicken if you have any matches you want to bring us up or talk about from the bottom bracket.
Yeah, I mean, kind of we can kind of go over. I kind of wanted to look at the left side first a bit. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if we talked about it last week, but yeah, Wild Rose took down Rice Bowl after having beaten Wild Nine, which I know we mentioned Wild Rose beating Wild Nine before, but I'm not sure if he'd played Rice Bowl yet. And then Ron Mexico taking down Aquaman and then falling to Wild Rose himself. So Wild Rose having a quite an impressive run, I think.
For
But
sure.
eventually falling to Shep. But yeah, definitely something to be proud of. Wild Rose recently moving up from the 3 to the 2 seed in Legacy.
Nice.
But yeah, Shep was just kind of on his warpath until he faced one British guy playing Quest Hunter, and then was unable to beat him. But and yeah, looking at the right side of the bracket, didn't get to see, or I'm not too sure what happened in Nails versus Beast's match, but Nails did end up taking it. I'm sure that was a very good match as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure.
And I believe it was it Nails versus Genji, or did
Um,
was it Nails versus JR?
I think it was Genji, but
JR.
I could be. Oh, it was JR. It was
No,
JR then.
yeah, 3-0.
Ah, okay, so yeah, Nails taking down JR after that, and yeah, Nails up against Chronic now in the semis. Are we allowed to? We're allowed to make predictions,
Oh
surely,
yeah,
right?
we can speculate. We couldn't
Okay.
before, but we can
Yeah,
now.
I mean, I think I do have to go with my former teammate Nails. I think he's been playing really well lately, especially in tournaments. Like he just had his best Masters Tour performance at Masters Tour Ruins of Alterac. He went 5-3, and then recently had another solid performance at the one that just happened last weekend. So I think he's been playing really well in tournament formats, off to a great start in THL this season. So
Nice,
yeah, I think I'm gonna pick Nails to take it all.
nice. Um, so I want to ask, who have I not yet asked about this bracket to choose a match? I think I have yet to ask Diamond, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, Diamond. Tell me about one match or something you're finding interesting here in the bracket.
Ooh, there's so many to choose from. Uh, I think the. Hmm. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. Everyone kind of had the matches I wanted to talk about. Not gonna lie, I don't
Fair.
really see anything to talk about.
Who do you think is going to win March Madness? Diamond,
Who's left? It's Rabob, Nails, and who?
Chronic.
I think Nails is gonna win.
Nice. I do want to thank Corridon for the raid. Thank you, Corridon. You should come with us more often. Haven't seen you here in a while, so whenever you want, would be happy to see you here again. But I think that is it for us for March Madness. Um, unless anyone has any final thoughts on March Madness before we move back into our commercial screen.
All I'll say is Nails is gonna win because then I win the bracket challenge. That's all I got.
Ayo, nice.
I I will say Rebob will win so that I have a better excuse for losing this week.
Also fair. So let's take a look here at our screen. We do have a late. Sorry, my throat is getting bad. All right now. We do have a surprise submission of a pro player of the week. Neji, tell us who got it.
Yeah, No AH is our pro player of the week. Rope and Cope are having a strong season. No AH is playing at master level, picking up a 3-0 win over a GM. This win helps Rope and Cope stay in first place and continue their strong run. If No AH continues playing at this high level, Rope and Cope will be in prime position for the playoffs.
Nice. I do want to ask now. Well, first, congratulate all the players of the week. But I wanted to ask our mysterious guest to give us our commercial break ad. So just hoot ahead.
Certainly. Hey there, Twitch viewers. Have you subscribed to Team Hearth League yet? Then make today the day to be a league yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables the THL team to help cover the various costs of operating our website, as well as improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you have Amazon Prime or Twitch Prime, you can sub to the channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. So hit that heart button and keep the notifications, quote, on to make sure that you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and every one of you. Special note to our viewers, check out THL's other social media points of interest, such as our website at teamhearthleague.com, Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord. You can find the link to the Discord on the website, although I assume if you are watching the stream, you are probably in the Discord. The true Hearth legend himself, Saku, continues to post all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search for Team Hearth League to catch everything previously recorded. You are, of course, watching us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Hearth League, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for all you THL fanatics, there are THL shows most days of the week. You can't go wrong tuning in at any time for some amazing Hearthstone related content. Now, back to the good part. Ka-chow!
All right. So, we are done with Legacy. We're done with Hero. We're done with March Madness. But we have 2 Pro Series to cover. Sorry. And to talk about Pro, I'm going to bring us into our meta report. Yes, Marty prepared very gracefully a meta report for Pro. We can now see classes that are triumphing and classes that are falling, and classes like Warlock that just barely exist. Yes, there is a class called Warlock for those of you who don't remember it. But just to give you some interesting info and some number, you can see that this meta in THL has focused on very few classes. We had mostly, you can see here, the most broad classes were Quest Hunter, Aggro DH or Dex, Control Warrior and Charge Warrior, Ramp Druid and then the Conjure Druid, and the Mech and Control Paladin. These classes dominated really everything else. They were brought way more than any other class. Then we had Mage, and then we had the meme stuff, if you can call it there, or just the barely present stuff. So, let me ask a few of you for opinions on this meta report. I'm going to start here with Neji. Neji, any thoughts, anything you want to add to this meta report, anything that surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look at stuff that has a bit of a higher sample size. Quest Hunter doing very well. It's the most broad deck and had a 60% win rate. Um, Something else, Naga Mage was brought 16 times and it only had a 35% win rate. That's pretty abysmal. Otherwise, things like Control Ramp Druid, Control Paladin are pretty average, a bit below average. And then also, to no surprise, Aggro DH up at a 56% win rate. Very strong deck. So a few surprises, but the top decks don't really surprise me too much.
Fair. Chicken. I want to ask you about one deck here. There's one deck that's weird to me. I don't know if it is also weird to you with the numbers, but I want to ask you about Boar Priest. Is it a meme?
I don't think it's a meme. I think it's definitely a deck that has or that takes a long time to learn. And is even then still like tough to execute on. But I do think the Masters Tour has shown that when played at a really high level, it can be very, very strong. Um, and yeah, I mean, yeah, the win rate here is definitely quite strong. I think may also has to do with people probably prepping quite well. You know, like just
Mm-hmm.
understanding what their opponent's going to bring and hitting a good matchup with War Priest. But yeah, I mean, definitely a less popular deck than kind of the main classes, but definitely still something to be considered when doing kind of your weekly prep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to ask our mysterious guest here if he has anything else he wants to share about our Pro Meta report.
I mean, for those of you who know my identity, you know that I tend to enjoy the decks more at the bottom end of this table. And I found it very interesting that of the Highlander Priest brings, 3 of the 4 of those were from the Heat Shock team. And of those 3, 2 of them won their match in sweeps. So Clearly, Highlander Priest is doing something right.
Fair? Fair. I don't know what it is, but that's fair. Any final thoughts anyone wants to share about the Pro Meta Report?
Um, I would just like to say that this is woefully incomplete. There is an other warlock that is not present on this list. A fatigue lock that Edelweiss brought and won with. Ah, maybe we'll see more of those results next week.
Maybe. Well, we did cut it somewhere because at some point we're starting to be trailing in very rare decks. But it is true. We could have rare decks that are not showing up here, and maybe they're better than we think. I don't know. Um, as you can see here, Curse, Warlock, and Shellfish Priest had a 100% win rate. Now, with that being said, shall we get moving to Pro Series? Take that as a yes. Pro Series, we're going to start with Faction versus Taggers. And Faction was probably one of the most lauded teams in the beginning of this season. So, Diamond, tell me how they fared against Taggers.
For sure. I can do that for you, Lotus. So yeah, Faction coming up on top, and even Dragon Ninja subbing in for Mighty, winning in 5 games against Rice Bowl, and then Flying Kraken, winning in 5 against Battle Tiger. And the only victory for the Tiger side was a sweep by Seth for Christ, and then 2-3-1s for Tomberry Blue and GCT Turth. So Faction are performing, I'd say, about how I would have expected them to perform. I think GC Turth, Mighty, and Fogi are really strong core of players that have been performing well in tournaments, and it's, at least look at the classes, interesting that they all did bring the Andrew Druid variant, which is good to the Ramp Druid, which there's at least 2 of them on the opposing sides, and they won that series. And plus, there was even a Beast Druid by Lasagna. But yeah.
Nice. Um, so, Geranium, anything you want to add about this one?
Yes, I think Dragon Ninja was also thrown around as a possible Pro Player of the Week winner for coming in, subbing in, and winning for Faction here. Uh, very close week across the board. Um, Unfortunate to see Fogi 8 at 0-2 as well. I remember a few seasons back when Fogi was MVP of Faction. In fact, MVP of all of Pro. So yeah, I think the Faction team is extremely strong and will bounce even higher.
Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts anyone wants to share about Faction versus Taggers?
Highlander Rogue is the nuts.
So, what is that deck?
It's a rogue that doesn't run any duplicates.
Just for Reno? Oh,
It's
you can Shadow Step Reno.
Yes, it was run by Dankestad the previous week and Dragon Ninja this week, and both of them won their matches while bringing it.
Nice.
I see a correlation.
True. Maybe the deck's OP.
Real and true.
Huh.
Um.
I never thought about it that way.
True.
This is the hope that rogues need.
We should tell J Alex on Twitter. Maybe he'll be happy.
I do
So.
think Rogue, or sorry, just to have a little tangent, I do think Rogue is better than like its latter win rates show. Um, like even I think a lot of it has to do with like the mulligans for Pirate Rogue are really weird, like for an aggro deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least from looking at mulligan statistics, it was who was it, Justin Time, that was really looking into this, and he was talking to me about this. But like keeping the 1 drops is often actively bad, to do, and you want to be looking for like your weapon and a shard vessel and stuff like that. So it's like
Huh.
I think a lot of people fall into the trap of like just keeping the one drops and early drops instead of looking for like the best cards in your deck. But anyway, that's just a little tangent about Rogue, and I don't think Rogue is actually as bad as it seems right now.
Ooh, I would love to see Rogue be playable again. Um, but let's see if it is the case in other matches and in over the next few weeks. So, taking a look at our next match, we have Brushy Tuna versus For the Boys, and I want to ask Chicken, what happened in this match?
Yeah, this match was certainly something. Um, I believe I don't know if I think all five of us just submitted McBanterface's lineup for the Masters Tour,
Y'all did?
which was pretty interesting. It did not end up working out for us. I think perhaps Banter wanted to self-sabotage and had some slightly suspect lists, which hey, I won my match, so it was fine for me. But I I don't know. I don't think that played into it too much. I think just having a bit of a tough start to the season. I mean, going forward in next, Darian is subbing out for 2 weeks, and then Jake is actually subbing out for the rest of the season. So, gonna see some changes with For the Boys going forward. But
Nice.
yeah, I mean, um, yeah, I had a bit of a tough start to the season. Playing, Freshly Tuna is probably or arguably the strongest opponent in our conference. So not too surprising for them to take the win here. I think I mean the two times we played last season, the matches could have gone or the weeks could have gone either way. So
Mm-hmm.
it does feel like that's kind of the case every time our two teams
True.
play each other.
It's weird not to face Shep. I always face Shep when I'm facing For the Boys. It's just not common for me not to. Although something really weird that happened was Had and I brought the same lineup. And Chicken and Dardar brought the same lineup. And we had basically opposite scores. That's just a very weird and curious thing for me.
That
Eh,
is weird indeed.
does anyone have any further thoughts about Brushy Tuna facing against For the Boys? Diamond, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I was the one who had to submit for everyone, and I think it was Shep's idea because I think this is the second time we've just full copied McBannerface when we played
Yes, it
against
is.
him, and I don't know if you guys were expecting that at all from last season, but I
Not
mean,
gonna
yeah.
answer.
Well, hey, no leaks. Come on, Lotus.
I'm not
Yeah,
here
but
to
it
leak
definitely.
strats.
Alright, you can just DM me them later. It's fine. Anyways, I think yeah, definitely like a close match. And these are the two teams that did battle out in the finals. So like I mean, it was I GG'd Ron at the end. I DM'd him at the end of the week. Like it was a good hard fought series, but was fun.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. The past 2 weeks, I think almost everyone on the team has had the same like lineup of sorts, which has been kind of funny to see.
For sure. For sure. Now, let's take a look at what pro Black Conference standings are looking like. Diamond, what's going on in the Black Conference standings?
Yeah, I think the Black Conference is like a mix of some teams being higher up than expected and then not. So we have Zarella's Disciples, a new team, at the top of the conference with 38 points, followed by Brushy Tuna, who I think also finished second last season, if I recall. So they are at 37 points and achieving playoffs maybe, currently in that playoff threshold at 35 points. Then we have Faction at 27 points, Tigers at 26 points, Popeye Spicy Chicken Sandwich at 23 points, For the Boys with 22 points, and Rotate Quest Please with 20 points. So yeah, definitely a lot of room as well. There's only 18 points between Zyrella Disciple and Rotate Quest Please, so the standings will definitely be shuffled around.
For sure. Now, I'll take this as a good opportunity to hop into the Pink Conference. In the Pink Conference, our first match is gonna be Pondering My Ape versus Swagoi. So I want to ask Geranium, tell us what happened there.
Yeah, Pondering My Ape, another slight variation on the Bread Ape, the Shed Ape saga here. Um, Heatshock's team switching out Avi for MMW this season takes a somewhat close win over Swagoi. CMAC does not win against Molestar in the 1. Ufric does, though, against Risen in the 2. Heatshock himself 3-0s Jared Pollitt in the 3. Valdus takes a 3-0 sweep over Linthesis in the 4, or Linthesis, I'm not sure. And then Edelweiss takes a close Game 5 win over MMW, bringing that Fatigue Warlock that I was talking about earlier. And that is also the one Highlander Priest match that did not win. We even see Highlander Priest get banned by Linthesis, so a scary deck to be sure.
For sure. Neji, I want to ask you, any thoughts about this match?
Yeah, fairly close match, 15-10. The matches themselves, again, we had 2 3-2s, but also 2 sweeps going towards Pondering My Ape, which I think is what flipped the series that way. But I'd say the most interesting thing is just the deck selection. We got a lot of decks that we don't see very often. We mentioned the Highlander Priests. There's also a Shellfish Priest. There's 2 Mech Mages on the other side, a Quest Shaman, an Other Warlock, a Beast Druid. I mean, this series was just very interesting. There's also a Phylactery Warlock. I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. But
Fair?
yeah, pretty interesting one. Would have been fun to be a part of this one, I think.
For sure. I I miss deck diversity. We're not seeing as much, and it's fun to see a match that has this much of it.
For sure.
Does anyone have any further thoughts on this match? I'm actually going to call on our specialist in weird decks here. Our mysterious guest, a specialist in weird decks. Tell us, what are you hooting over here?
I mean, as I previously highlighted, that Highlander Priest, a very interesting bring, but I think overall the Heat Shock Valdis and MMW just going for very controlling lineups to answer. Um, I assume decks like Aggro Demon Hunter and Mech Mage, and it clearly worked out for Heat Shock and Valdis, but Edelweiss going for another very spicy and very greedy lineup, perhaps anticipating that counter aggro and in
Mm-hmm.
turn countering that.
Yeah.
And of course, Molestar stays winning. I love Molestar. I am the second biggest Molestar fan in Philadelphia.
Nice. Any further thoughts about this match before we go into our final pink match of the night? Okay, so Neji, tell us about our final pink match we have here.
We have F2L versus Bing Bong Big Top. F2L took a pretty convincing win, 17-10. We had Rebob 3-2 over Izot, Glee 3-2 over Nails. Kobe was our only win, 3-1 over Berserk. Marty B won 3-2 against Corridon, who subbed in for Justin, and Atachi won 3-0 against me. It was a pretty rough week for our team. We didn't, not that this is an excuse or anything, but we didn't do any prep this week because we all had the Masters tour, or most of us. So we kind of just brought MT lineups or whatever we felt like bringing. And clearly it did not work out too well as we are now 0-2 on the season. So well done to F2L. They took advantage of it and definitely brought it to us.
Mm-hmm. Geranium, anything you want to add about F12 versus Bing Bong Big Top?
Bing bong. Uh, hmm. I do think the Boar Priest mirror was very interesting. Um, and yeah, I mean, some of the players from F2L actually getting to play this week instead of getting DQ'd. So um, now we see that they will win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. So, I feel like this is it for our pink conference matches, unless someone has anything they want to say before we go into the conference standings. Take that as a no. Neji, tell me, what are the final conference standings for pink conference?
Yeah, right now we have Rope and Cope at the top with 38 points, followed by No Pros here at 32. Swigoi and Pondering My Ape are both at 30. Cheesemongers United at 28. F12 with 27. Mr. Smiteside with 25. And Bing Bong Big Top at the bottom with 21.
All right, still a long time to go, but that is how Pro is shaping up. Now, something interesting that happened this week is that we actually had very most of our conferences were very tight, I would say, or were not very tight, sorry. We had a lot of lopsided matches. This was not the case in Pro EU. To tell us about Pro EU, we have Super Chicken with our first match.
Yeah, our first match that we're covering for Pro EU is League of Nations versus F2L Violet. So in the one seed we had Mighty versus Superfake, two of the stronger GMs performance wise recently in their respective regions. Just casually having a match in THL. Superfake definitely getting the better of Mighty there, taking it 3-0. In the two seed we had Rami taking it 3-2 over Deads. Who are also two very strong performance. Dead's having one of the highest amount of wins in the first three Masters tours this year, and Rami being a former GM. Then we had Izat taking down Rebob 3-2, Gaboom taking down Itachi 3-1, and Den beating Copa 3-0. So I think this was kind of two of the stronger teams in Pro EU going at it, and League of Nations getting a bit of an edge there.
Hmm. Now, Diamond, I want to ask you any insights you want to add here as the captain of the League of Nations.
Yeah, we knew going in, like I told the team that this will be one of the harder weeks, and it kind of worked as in like I think some people played before the Masters tour. Like I don't remember the exact order, and some people played after. But yeah, it was like interesting to see like we won kind of all our lower seed matches, and then Dad's was close, and then Mighty was like Mighty kind of had a bad week. He lost in I think both series, and then didn't do too well in MT, and he is sworn off Paladin. I think he
Fair?
tweeted about that as well. But yeah, and I guess that's it goes to show in pro. It's like you can have really nutty people in the 1 and 2, but you also need to like have people who can hold their own in the other seats as well.
For sure. All right, so moving us into our final match of the night, and we're going to have our mysterious guest tell us about that match. We have Donkey Hot versus Pertinax.
Yeah, certainly. Donkey Hot coming off of their bye week, so there was no previous result to base expectations for them on. But I still would say that they probably exceeded expectations, winning the week 17-9. Their only loss being in that one seed, where uh, Oh goodness, I'm gonna have to pronounce these names.
Oh yeah.
Paljuha lost to Martinino in the 2 seed. Donkey took a 3-1 victory over uh, Dingsinho. Uh, Gr- Groinkpuff took a 3-0 over Bouncy Knight. Uh, Seco HS took a 3-2 over Revoquez. And Bronca279 took a 3-2 over Mott. And I believe also got our player of the week.
Yes.
And I know we were sort of talking up Boar Priest recently, but there were 2 Boar Priest brings in this match, and neither of those players won their match. So perhaps Boar Priest not the move right now,
Maybe.
or at least not the move in these situations.
Um, Chicken, I want to ask you if you have any thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with a lot of these players. The ones I am familiar with are Palyuha and Donkey, uh, both Croatian, I believe. Um, yeah, both of them on the same EU team, which is pretty interesting. Other than that, lots of Paladin, lots of Control Paladin, couple of Mech Paladins. A bit surprised to see that much. I think the pro EU meta is maybe shaping up a little bit differently than what we're used to seeing over in Pro Series a bit.
Nice.
So I find that pretty interesting.
For sure.
Not a lot of aggro DH either. It seems like there's a lot of kind of control warrior and control paladin. So maybe people a bit wary of bringing that. But I mean, the people who brought control warrior lost, and people who brought demon hunter seem to mostly win their matches. So maybe there is no reason to be worried at all.
Sure. Any final thoughts about this match before we hop to look at the standings? All right. So, Chicken, tell us, what do the Pro U standings look like?
Yeah, so we already have one team pulling a bit ahead of the rest of the pack with League of Nations kind of head and shoulders above the rest at 37 points. Then we have Underdogs and F12 Violet tied at 30. Then we have Fruit Basket at 29 points. Then we have Pertinax and Flowins Esports tied at 28. Then at 20 points we have Donkey Hot at Undivided with 19 points, and then Team Enigma with 3 points.
Wow. Slow start for Team Enigma there, but the rest, just really strong performance, especially by Donkey Hot.
Yeah, no, they had a really, really strong first week, despite not really getting any practice in since they had the bye in week one. But yeah, doing really well.
Yeah. And with that, I move us back to our caster screen where we're going to go into our checkout question. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I want to thank Super Chicken, Diamond, Geranium Battle, Neji Boston, and our very nice mysterious guest. So I'm going to start with Geranium here. Geranium, thank you so much for having us. Our question, checkout question of the night is: a lot of people keep talking the lack of diversity right now. We keep hearing that there's no warlock, there's no rogue, there's no priest, there's no shaman. I want to ask you: is there a lack of diversity? Is it a problem? And if so, how do you fix it?
Well, I think okay. So first off, I somewhat don't believe that there is that much of a lack of diversity, but with the idea that some of the classes have all of the goodies and some of the classes see little to no play, I think that part of that it has to do with a lot of classes having many options available to them if of different types. Um, warrior having an aggressive deck and a control deck, paladin having a control deck and an aggressive deck. You can see the same thing with Druid, a very anti-control deck, and then an aggressive deck, and then comparing those to the options that, let's say, Warlock has. If Warlock wants to make an aggressive deck like Murloc Warlock, then it has to beat these other very good aggressive decks that have all these extra tools. So while I don't think that there's not much of a lack of diversity, because I think that you can still see wins with some of these sort of specialized classes,
Sure.
I do agree with some of the classes being very powerful right now.
Fair. And one more time, thank you so much, Uranium, for being here tonight. Um, Diamond, I want to ask you here, is there a lack of diversity? Is it a problem? And how would you fix it?
I guess you could say there's a lack of diversity. Like at least for me, for picking what I've been playing, and at least for me, I just do different stuff when I want to. Like I either play one deck for like a couple days straight, and then I'll switch it up for my own personal enjoyment. And I guess other people can do that too. To
Sure.
try that out, how would I fix it? Make Drekthar 3 mana. It's a good buff to the card, and everyone will enjoy it.
Fair. Neji, I want to thank you as always for being here. I want to ask you, is there a problem with the lack of diversity or some problem with the meta, and how do you fix it?
Yeah, I think there is a bit of a lack of diversity. We have kind of like Demon Hunter, Druid, Warrior are like the good classes, as well as Paladin. Hunter as well, but Hunter really, I'd say Quest Hunter's just the main Hunter bring. You could go like Face Hunter, but meh. So then the other classes, um, they're not doing as well. And like Diamond said, whenever I'm selecting classes for Hero and Legacy, I'm bringing the same 4 or 5 every single week so far. So I think there definitely is a bit of lack of diversity. I'm not sure what the best way to do that is. Maybe we need some buffs for the other classes. I think that could go a long way. Um, but yeah, I think there needs to be some kind of change. I don't think the meta is going to evolve to help out like Warlock and Priest and whatnot. I mean, obviously there's Board Priest, but that's not the best bring for some people. So yeah, I think there should be some changes.
Sure. Chicken, any thoughts you want to share? And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, of course. I think other than Warlock being like absolutely unplayable garbage, why would you ever touch it unless your name is Izat? Um, I think the class representation is pretty good. I do think, yeah, some there are a decent amount of classes that kind of only have one archetype. You know, like I don't think Shellfish Priest is. I think Shellfish Priest is kind of just a worse version of Boar Priest. So Priest has like basically one archetype. So does Hunter. So does um Rogue. So I think
Mm-hmm.
in that sense maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like I've been able to queue up a lot of different things on ladder lately and still manage to get wins. Even though a lot of the meta is Demon Hunter. Um,
Sure.
I It does feel like Demon Hunter overshadows a lot, but I don't know, it does feel like it kind of serves a necessary evil of keeping Druid down. So I'm
Yes.
not really sure what the best adjustment to the meta would be. Maybe like I don't know. It does feel like if Demon Hunter were to get nerfed again, like you would probably need to tweak Druid again. So
Yeah.
it is hard. It is hard to say like what the best fit is right now. I don't think we're in too bad of a spot right now. At least from like a tournament perspective. I feel like the conquest meta is pretty interesting right now, and there's a lot you can do.
Sure. And last but not least, I want to ask our nice guest here. Any thoughts? Anything you want to say? Thank you so much for joining us as a surprise tonight. Any thoughts on lack of diversity and how would you fix it?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, what I think the issue I see with a lot of decks is that we're just working with a much smaller card pool. Um, and what that's led to is a lot of the archetypes that were either previously supported or are newly being supported just don't have the cards to fill them out. So for most classes, there's really only one or two archetypes that actually have a full 30 card deck you can build. And what that leads to is very little diversity within the classes. Um, the other issue I've seen is that for some reason the spell pools now seem really really bad. Like back in Barons, you were pretty happy running Scorpid as your 30th card, and I have not found a single deck now that wants to run Scorpid as its 30th card because spells seem horrendous. Uh, so I think
Hmm.
the game just needs more cards in it so that we can build Beast Hunter again and have the full 30 for it.
Nice. I think that's a good point. And with that, that is it for our show tonight. I want to one more time thank Super Chicken, Geranium Battle, Diamond, Neji Boston, and our nice, mysterious Hooter guest for being here with us tonight. I want to thank all our viewers. Remember, play on stream. You can post on stream matches if you want to play on stream. There's still slots available, and sure we can figure something out. That said, have a good night, everyone. And there will be more content. I think on Thursday we have Weldon out and we have match shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So keep an eye out and have a good one, everyone. We will see you later.